So, Dorkong, I'm going to come back to you again. And this time, I would want you to share with us, as a menstrual hygiene advocate and radio host, how has the media changed and changed societal norms around menstrual health today? Can you share an instance where your advocacy directly influenced policy or community behavior? So this is stemming off from your work in menstrual hygiene.
Okay, I would say that media has greatly served as an effective space for changing patriarchal gender norms. Like today we see print, electronic, social media, they all play vital roles in effectively conveying messages that need to be conveyed publicly and privately on issues like controlling population growth, spread of literacy, income generation, savings, even improving quality of life through health, nutrition, and sanitation. But to be a little more concise, I will say that media, TV, radio, print, social platforms, all of these have really helped in mobilizing campaigns. A lot of campaigns have been started in the media. Hashtag Together for a Period-Friendly World. I mean, how would we here in Nigeria know that that's the hashtag, if not for media, spreading the word, and people around the world were able to connect and use that hashtag on this year's edition of World Menstrual Hygiene Day, which was on May the 28th. Like every other year, we're all on the same page with the hashtags, the memes, the signature poses, and the likes. So that's one way. Another way is that I would say that media has really helped in amplifying messages, irrespective of where the campaign may have begun. Taking it to the media space amplifies its volume. More people are reached through various media platforms, and hosting this conversation right now on X is one way that we are amplifying the message against gender inequality and discrimination. We may have decided to just meet at a fancy restaurant, just 4 of us, and do this over a nice dinner, but one of our goals was to amplify this message. Then thirdly, it would be reframing perceptions and sharing knowledge. Media is the perfect place to demystify myths, reframe perceptions, and to share knowledge. A lot of grassroots conversations can be had, for example, on radio. Radio is considered the most widely accessible form of mass communication in the world, and also one of the quickest on-the-spot feedback platforms. And this was before the internet became so viral. Radio used to be number one. Or we can say internet is dragging that space. But the media is powerful. It's really powerful. And I would say that radio in particular is highly accessible. Okay, so looking at the grassroots conversations. In fact, I remember when I was a host on Nigeria Info, a lot of times we would just call in stakeholders, would call in people in government to just come and share their thoughts on conversations as it affects different issues. I really enjoy that on Nigeria Info, for example. And wherever there's a breaking news and it affects the girl child, it affects women, it affects people in general, you can just easily get these people to come on air and have very, very important conversations that would go a long way in clarifying a lot of issues and hopefully changing things. But as I conclude answering this question, I would like to recall an instance when I was a guest on radio discussing harmful practices like female genital mutilation, and a caller mentioned that he would ensure his daughter undergoes FGM because it is a tradition in his community. That's exactly how he said it. Like, we were literally talking about why FGM is very dangerous, some of the dangers of FGM and the implications, long-term implications. And this man called and said, whatever it is that we're discussing now, all he knows is that this is a long-standing tradition and he will ensure his daughter undergoes it. And then we asked him, what would you state some of the benefits, and he couldn't provide any answer to that question. And so we had to all together immediately share with him the grievous dangers associated with FGM. And I bet there are so many other people who probably were listening at the time, even from the messages we received, WhatsApp messages, online messages. We were able to see that mindsets were being changed and the message was getting out there. In fact, I remember, so I can't remember how exactly the message came in, but we saw messages like, oh, really? So this can happen? Oh, wow, I never knew that. In fact, there was a roundtable conversation at one point on FGM. And a particular lady came and shared her story. And a lot of people, she talked about how it was difficult for her to have a child and some of the complications during childbirth. And her story was so touching. Like, you would literally have goosebumps listening to this woman. And a lot of feedback we got were people realizing that this was truly dangerous and how moving forward they would have to desist and also speak up when they had the chance to. Thank you, Ella.
Thank you so much for that. That was really, really insightful. And I'm going to come back to Ayobami now, still talking about menstrual education. So Ayobami, your guide, Cycle of Confidence.
Okay. I'm so sorry. Sorry. It just occurred to me. I'm not sure if I was able to answer the part of directly influencing policy or community behavior.
Sure.
Was I able to touch on that as well still?
Sure, definitely you did. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right, Ayobami. So your guide, Cycle of Confidence, has been pivotal in promoting menstrual education. So can you share with us how this guide has been received in the communities that you serve? And maybe share a story of its impact on reducing menstrual stigma, if you don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Cycle of Confidence. So, first of all, Cycle of Confidence was launched this year. So we had the opportunity to utilize it in this last World Menstrual Health and Hygiene Day. So what actually inspired the book, before I go to how the communities we are reaching are receiving it, it's the fact that I realized that we have a lot of organizations reaching out to teenage girls on this issue of menstrual health and hygiene. In fact, this last World Menstrual Hygiene Day, there were flyers all over places. People going for one event or the other, sharing parts and everything. But one thing I observe is that it seems we are just giving out parts and we are not really addressing the should I call it the issue now, the problem. We are not really addressing it effectively, which is the issue of stigmatization. So, and the greatest form of stigmatization to me is when you are stigmatizing yourself. Not even when anyone is stigmatizing you, but you are the one stigmatizing yourself. So I began to see it in a way that, why is it that our girls are brought up in a way that they don't have the confidence to talk about their menstruation? They feel like it's something that should be hidden, something that no one should hear of. So one of the major reason why that book was actually written is not just to educate girls on their menstrual health and hygiene alone, but to help them to be able to navigate, poverty, the menstrual health and their menstruation and every other thing that comes with it, that they will have the confidence to navigate it. So it's to help them build, self-esteem and confidence, even as a girl child, even as they menstruate and the likes. So how are they receiving this book? Of course, this World Menstrual Hygiene Day, the book was very, very useful for us because number one, we were able to scale up our impact. We were able to partner with 20 organizations in the southwestern region of this country. So what we did was that we gave out just two copies to each organization, and the expectation was for them to reach out to girls within their community and utilize the information in the book to educate these girls. Now, when you check Cycle of Confidence, you will see girls' affirmations there, and the affirmations have to do with building their confidence. You will see stories from girls that we were able to reach out to in the past, people sharing their story. So the book is actually educating, empowering, and also equipping them for sustainable practices, even as they menstruate. So in the book, we are also able to take the girls through how to, make eco-friendly reusable sanitary pads and how to utilize it very well, while they also prioritize their hygiene. All right. So, and this last World Menstrual Hygiene, they were able to reach over 4,000 girls through these organizations, because after we've given them the book, one of the measures we put in place is to create a template for reporting, where they can report the impact, the responses they got on the feed, and things they observe. So one of the responses we got from some of the schools is the fact, some of the counselors from the schools they reach out to, is the fact that they are receiving a book that is not just talking to the girls about their hygiene alone, but they are getting a book that is also opening their eyes to the need to be confident as a girl child. That whatever you are going through, whatever phase, whatever thing is happening in your body, it's not like you have a choice. It's a need, it's a must for you as a girl child. So if people are not ashamed of prostitution, if there are a lot of things that ladies or girls are engaging in our society now, they are not ashamed of it. So why should I be ashamed of my menstruation? Why should I feel like it's something I cannot speak about? So this is what this book is majorly addressing, and I can really say I'm very glad because it's actually doing its work. So because the book is not just for teenage girls alone, there's also a section addressing how educators should handle issue of menstrual health and hygiene, and how parents should also create a kind of supportive community for their girl child. So educators that have access to had access to this book, I mean people in the social sectors, teachers and everything, they were like, it's the book actually enlightened them more on how they can actually create a safe space for girls they are reaching out to. So, and also how they can ensure that boys are also inclusive in the discussion. Boys are inclusive in the discussion that has to do with menstruation. So I feel that because currently a lot of people in the NGOs now, they feel like menstruation is not really a big deal, because I feel maybe a lot of organizations are not funding projects that have to do with menstrual health and hygiene anymore. But I feel like we still have a lot to do, because the problem is not just pads. Yes, do we need to give out pads? Yes. I'm even looking forward to a time where in our country, girls will have access to free pads. And I believe that day will come if we all come together unitedly to work towards it. But much more than pads now, can we raise girls? Can we empower girls that will be confident enough, to speak out? It's not even on menstruation alone. Several other things they are going through. Can we build girls that we have the, that confidence to talk, that confidence to speak out, that confidence to stand for their rights, that confidence not to be ashamed of what they are going through, what is going on in their body, because it's a natural process. And this is one of the things that makes them a woman. So this is what cycle of confidence does. So to just round it up, it's encouraging open discussion, sustainable practices, and it's building the confidence of the girls and self-esteem, as it's also educating them on their menstrual health and hygiene. And we've been getting productive responses, and we love what we are seeing. And because of that, we are actually going to embark on a 6-month project from July to December, utilizing cycle of confidence and also partnering with several organizations across Nigeria. We are extending our project to the northern side of the country. So we're going to be sharing hard copies of the book to schools across the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ayobami. From what you just shared with us right now, I can believe that the book is actually making a lot of impact. Tackling the issue of self-confidence with young girls is actually a great thing. It's like hitting the nail on the head, because it's the confidence that actually creates lack of confidence that creates the cycle of silence, actually. So confidence to not want to share about anything and all of that. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and great job. Great job so far.
Thank you.
So Bidemi, I'm going to be coming to you now, still on connecting the dots between period poverty as a causative factor of gender equality. As a founder of the Smile Outreach and an ardent adolescent health advocate and women's empowerment champion, you can see that gender issues are present in almost every cause that there is, right? So can you tell us a bit about the good cycle? We just launched the good cycle in Abuja, and we activated 2 PAD stations. So please tell us about the good cycle. How does it work? How is it different? And what is the potential to solve period poverty on a global scale if this is adapted in small ways across different organizations and communities?
Hi, Ella. First, I'd like to congratulate Ayo with the Cycle of Confidence. I am blown away by your innovation, and Dorkong for
Thank
using
you.
media to change the narrative. I'm really happy we're having this conversation. And I also love that Ayo talked about going beyond products, which is just, it's beautiful to hear. And to answer your question, Ella, which is like 3 in 1, the Good Circle tackles 3 challenges: period poverty, absenteeism in schools, and sexual grooming leading to cross-generational sexual relationship due to lack of access, lack of information. Which is why I was very happy when Ayo said we need to go beyond. People always think when we talk about period poverty, we are talking about pads, we are talking about giving girls, which is also important, but it's a lot more than that. For the Good Circle, our strategy involves establishing pad stations in schools, in camps. By camps, I mean IDPs and prisons. I think the second part of the question is how it works. We set up pad stations that ensure girls have access to consistent education and products. I think it's also one of the things I love about it is our approach. When we launched on May 28th, what we intended to do was that this is not us just meeting with these people once. We also want to ensure we meet with them at least monthly to educate them, include some really DIY craft making activities that would help the girls be creative, to help them discover their potential for entrepreneurship, for example. We believe that change is transformative, and transformation does not happen in one day or with one outreach or one sensitization. It's an ongoing process. The last part of your question says, what is the potential to solve period poverty on a global scale, right? If this is adopted. So if this is adopted in small ways, if what Ayo has just shared, if the circle of confidence is the gospel of the circle of confidence is preached across board, if what Dorkong does is also adopted across multiple media channels, if what we are trying to do here at the Good Circle to fight against sexual grooming as a result of lack of access, this would mean that we would have successfully empowered girls and women with the knowledge about their rights, their reproductive health, personal safety. We would have successfully done this. We would have equipped them with the confidence to face their days, knowing that they have what they need. We would have harnessed the resilience and determination of women in every community we find ourselves, whether it's the north, the south, or the east, to become drivers of change themselves, to own these challenges and come up with ways, collective action really to address this problem. Because it's not just period poverty, there's sexual exploitation involved, there are educational barriers involved. That's why I also had the need to come up with a book. That's why we are trying to use media to amplify. We would also have successfully integrated entrepreneurial activities, at these past stations, for example. It could be as simple as DIY project, as long as they teach sustenance and financial literacy and business acumen. Now, it's crazy how from period poverty, I'm talking about a lot of things that could be involved, but that's really what we are trying to do here. Thank you, Ella.
Thank you so much, Bidemi. Before you go, I wanted to ask a very important question. So when you were talking, you kept mentioning pad station, and I know some people that might be listening right now may get confused with what a pad station is and what a pad bank is, because I know a lot of organizations launch pad banks, but ours is a pad station. So do you mind sharing with us what a pad station is exactly, and how does it differ from a pad bank?
Right, Ella, thank you. So first off, pad banks are ingenious, they're amazing. But because we like to come up with sustainable things, what happens when pads are not in the pad banks, basically? So we seek to ensure consistent access to products, ideally, right, in these locations that we intend to launch the stations. But in truth, the pad stations are hubs of awareness and advocacy and activism. After this call, I'm going to reach out to Ayo and say, look, can we have the cycle of confidence in some of our past stations that we will launch in the West, for example? That's how I want to partner with organizations doing this. So past stations are hubs of collaborations and partnerships. They are places where we educate people. Volunteers who choose to be delegates in their communities will man these past stations. Organizations and people that do not mind adapting elements of the good circle can just join us on that day to sensitize people, when we have repeated engagement and contact with our target, for example. So these stations are groundwork for training, for incubation, for sensitization, not distribution or donation. Actually, in fact, that is like a causative effect of what we are doing. So a pad station, if I were to outline it, is a landmark. It's also a bank, but it's more of a landmark that, okay, if you are in Ibadan, here is a pad station that you can come join us once a month, right, to help teach girls about their periods, right? It's a bank that allows people to say, oh, if you're generous enough, give to the cause. It's a hub. It's a space for advocacy, for resource sharing, for knowledge exchange. If we can invite Dorkong to some of the programs we do, we will invite her, because that is the point. It's a training ground as well for our next women leaders. Is it possible that we meet people that are so transformed they also want to become advocates themselves? I mean, this is like me painting a beautiful picture. We know the work has to go into it, but this is ideally what a pad station is.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for giving us some clarity on what a pad station is. The fact that it's a consistent thing that happens every month. So we're not just giving the girls pads, and like Ayo mentioned, the emphasis is not on the products, but on the education and, sensitization, the confidence and all of that. And yes, I look forward to having the book, Cycle of Confidence, at our pad stations, where we're, activating new stations, or even the ones that we just activated.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Voices Against Violence. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and thought-provoking. If you'd like to learn more, partner with us, or have any inquiries, feel free to reach out to us at partnership@thesmileoutreach.africa or call +234 81 134 871 51. Until next time, keep advocating, keep raising your voice, and keep making a difference. Bye.